What if I told you, the moment you walk away is the moment you unleash a power so profound it terrifies the world around you? Carl Jung called it individuation, but what he really uncovered was a hidden energetic law, one so dangerous they tried to silence it. And today, we expose it all. Carl Jung wasn't just a psychologist, he was a mystic, a philosopher, a rebel of the unconscious mind. While Freud explored human behavior through sexuality and repression, Jung dove into something far more mysterious, the sacred path of becoming whole. And one of the most powerful ideas he ever touched was this: the moment a person walks away from something that no longer aligns with their soul, something shifts. Not just psychologically, but energetically. The entire universe rearranges. In one of his lesser-known conversations, one that never aired publicly, Jung spoke candidly about this force. He said, "The individual who dares to detach from collective illusion threatens the very structure of that illusion." What does that mean? It means walking away isn't weakness. It's war, a spiritual revolution. You are removing your psychic energy from something that was feeding off your unconscious participation, whether it's a toxic relationship, a draining job, or a belief system that no longer resonates. Imagine for a moment all your energy is being siphoned into something that keeps you small, something that thrives off your need to be liked, to be needed, to be safe. And then one day, without warning, you say, "Enough." You walk, you leave, you don't beg, you don't explain, you simply remove your energy. That moment, right there, is when the energetic shift occurs. Jung understood that every person projects unconscious parts of themselves onto others. We give away our power by believing that fulfillment, love, and meaning must come from something outside ourselves. But when you walk away, you're not just quitting. You're pulling back your projections. You're saying, "No more. I take back what's mine." This is dangerous, not to you, but to those who have fed off your compliance. The moment you reclaim your energy, the system trembles. The people who relied on your weakness suddenly feel exposed. Why? Because your absence is louder than your presence ever was. That's the energetic power Jung was talking about, the shockwave of sovereignty. In one of his notes, Jung wrote, "The soul demands its own liberation, and if it cannot find freedom, it will make you sick." Think about that. Staying in what drains you isn't just emotionally painful, it becomes spiritually toxic. Your soul is not here to shrink. It's here to expand, to evolve, to walk away from the shallow and toward the sacred. But here's the real truth. Most people can't do it. They're trapped. They fear being alone. They fear the unknown. So they stay. They keep giving their energy to the very things that are killing them. Jung saw this as a form of self-betrayal. He didn't use soft words to describe it. He called it what it is: spiritual cowardice. The energetic power of walking away doesn't mean you abandon responsibility. It means you stop being responsible for other people's comfort when it comes at the cost of your own truth. That's the line. That's the threshold. And once you cross it, there is no going back. Jung often warned that society conditions us to associate sacrifice with virtue. But what if the real virtue lies in refusing to sacrifice your soul? What if walking away is actually the most moral choice you could make? Not just for you, but for the world. When you walk away, you show others what's possible. You model self-respect. You become a mirror that reflects their own imprisonment. And that's why they attack. That's why they slander you, guilt you, try to pull you back. Because your energy, once given freely, is now sovereign, and they don't know how to survive without it. Let's go deeper. Jung believed in the concept of the self, this higher version of you that already knows the path. But in order to embody the self, the ego must dissolve its attachments. That's the real walking away. It's not just leaving a job or a person, it's leaving an identity. The part of you that believed suffering was noble. The part of you that believed silence was strength. The part of you that believed love must be earned. When you walk away from those beliefs, You enter into something sacred, something terrifying, something divine. Jung said, "Loneliness does not come from having no people around, but from being unable to communicate the things that seem important to oneself." And that is why the walk-away moment is so powerful. You're choosing truth over tribe, meaning over manipulation, silence over noise. There's a moment, if you've ever done it, you know it, where you walk out the door, delete the number, close the chapter, and you feel something inside you rise. Not relief, not anger, power. You didn't just walk away from a person or place. You walked into alignment, into integrity. You walked into you. And from that point forward, everything changes. The universe recalibrates. People sense something different in you. Your energy no longer leaks. You're no longer seeking validation. You're not broadcasting pain. You're radiating presence. That's when the miracles begin. Not because of what you gained, but because of what you let go. Walking away is an energetic message to the universe. I am ready for more. I trust what's ahead more than I fear what I'm leaving behind. Carl Jung knew the price of this path. He paid it. He walked away from Freud, from institutional praise, from the safety of convention. Why? Because his soul demanded it. Because the truth was louder than the applause, and in doing so, he birthed a new era of depth psychology, one that dared to honor the sacred inner world. In the next part of this interview, we will uncover what Jung called the return of the repressed. What happens after you walk away, when your inner shadows begin to rise and demand integration. This is where the true transformation begins. Stay with us. You're about to discover the next stage of your awakening. Previously, we uncovered the hidden force Carl Jung believed was unleashed the moment we walk away. Not in weakness, but in sacred power. But the story doesn't end there. Walking away is not the final step, it's the initiation. The door closes behind you, but what lies ahead? Carl Jung warned, what you resist not only persists but grows in size. When you detach from what once defined you, the shadows you avoided begin to surface. This is what Jung called the return of the repressed. The anger, the grief, the guilt, the fear. All the emotions you buried to keep the peace. They come back, not to destroy you, but to integrate with you. Because walking away is not just about exiting something toxic, it's about re-entering your own soul. Jung believed that the unconscious is not a place of demons, but a reservoir of potential. When you walk away, you're not just reclaiming energy, you're making space for the parts of yourself that were silenced. The things we tolerate, the toxic job, the draining relationship, the false identity, these often serve as distractions. They protect us from facing the one thing we fear the most, our true selves. But when those distractions are gone, the silence returns. And in that silence, we meet the truth. And the truth can be terrifying. Jung called this encounter the shadow, the part of us we hide, the parts we disown to fit in. When you walk away, you trigger a confrontation with that shadow. It's why so many people run back. Because the unknown within is often more frightening than the known dysfunction without. But here's where the real transformation happens. The pain you feel after walking away isn't punishment. It's purification. It's your soul shedding layers. It's the breaking of a false self. The privilege of a lifetime is to become who you truly are, Jung said. He didn't say it would be easy. He said it would be privileged, because few ever get that far. Most spend their lives managing roles and masks, never touching their essence. But you've walked away. You've stepped onto sacred ground. No tree can grow to heaven unless its roots reach down to hell, Jung wrote. This is the paradox he mastered. You do not rise by running from your pain. You rise by embracing it, by sitting with it, by letting it speak. The energetic power of walking away is this. It gives you back everything you once abandoned. Your truth, your voice, your clarity, your grief. And grief is holy. It's the evidence of your depth. But society tells you to move on quickly, to get over it, to replace what you left. But Jung warned, replacing is not the same as healing. Healing requires space, silence, reflection, and yes, loneliness. But in that loneliness, something begins to awaken. Until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life, and you will call it fate, Jung said. Walking away is you interrupting that fate. You break the cycle. You stop handing your life over to the unconscious agreements you never signed. You stop playing a character in someone else's story. You write your own. And in that moment, you begin what Jung called individuation, the lifelong journey of becoming whole. Here's the part they don't tell you. When you begin to heal, when you return to yourself, you'll start attracting differently. Not because you want to, but because your frequency has changed. You no longer vibrate with what once tolerated your silence. You don't resonate with codependency, manipulation, or masks. You crave depth. You crave truth. That is the energetic shift. People will say, "You've changed." And you have. You are no longer available for anything that drains you, for anything that demands you. Sacrifice your soul for approval. You are no longer a source of energy to the old system. You have become a force of nature all on your own. But this transformation comes with a cost. The world that once embraced your compliance will resist your freedom. You will be tested. You will be challenged. Because freedom is the greatest threat to control. Carl Jung understood this deeply. He lived it. And that is why this interview was banned. Because the truth about walking away shakes the very foundations of society's power structures. But you, having heard this now, have a choice. You can shrink back to safety, or you can embrace the energetic power of walking away, and in doing so, become unstoppable. The journey continues in the next part, where we reveal how to navigate the shadows that rise after walking away, and how to fully claim the power you've begun to awaken. After walking away, the shadows rise. But this is where true courage is born. Jung called this phase the night sea journey, a plunge into the unknown parts of yourself that most fear to visit. You face not just external loss, but an internal void. Many mistake this void for emptiness, but Jung insisted it is a sacred space, an invitation to creation. The energetic power you gain from walking away becomes your anchor here. It's what holds you steady as your old identity dissolves and a new one begins to emerge. This process is not linear. It's a spiral of deepening self-awareness. With each cycle, you shed illusions and come closer to your core. But beware, the world will try to pull you back. Old attachments, voices of doubt, fear of loneliness. These are the chains disguised as comfort. Jung warned that only by fully surrendering to the process can you break free. Surrender doesn't mean defeat. It means accepting what is without resistance. When you stop fighting your shadow, it no longer controls you. Instead, it becomes a source of strength and wisdom. In this space, synchronicities will start to appear, meaningful coincidences that guide you. Jung believed these are signs from the unconscious aligning you with your true path. They confirm that walking away was not an escape, but a necessary initiation into your authentic life. As you embrace this, your energy shifts profoundly. You stop reacting to external dramas and instead respond from a place of inner power. This recalibration is felt by others, even if they can't explain why. They sense your freedom, and it unsettles those still trapped in their old patterns. But this is your rebirth. The energetic power of walking away is not just about leaving, it's about becoming a creator of your reality. You reclaim your energy from the past and use it to build a future aligned with your soul. Carl Jung's banned words reveal this hidden truth. Walking away is a sacred act of alchemy. It transforms pain into power, loss into liberation, fear into clarity. This power is always within you. It only needs your permission to awaken. So now ask yourself, what are you still holding on to? What chains have you yet to break? Because the moment you walk away from them, you reclaim yourself, and that is the beginning of true freedom. The path won't be easy, but as Jung said, one does not become enlightened by imagining figures of light, but by making the darkness conscious. Walking away is the first step into that light. Your journey starts now. The moment you truly understand the energetic power of walking away is the moment you reclaim your sovereignty. Jung taught that every choice to walk away is a declaration. I will no longer feed what harms me. I will no longer shrink to fit a world that denies my essence. This is not rebellion for rebellion's sake. It is sacred self-respect. But what many don't realize is that walking away also rewires your energetic field. It resets the invisible boundaries you carry, boundaries that either protect your spirit or leave it vulnerable. When you remove yourself from toxic environments, those boundaries grow stronger and clearer. You send a signal to the universe and to yourself that your energy is not to be taken lightly. This shift affects everything: your relationships, your work, your creative expression. You start attracting people and situations that honor your new vibration. Jung believed this alignment is what makes individuation possible, a union between your conscious choices and the deeper currents of your soul. Yet, walking away is also an act of faith. It means stepping into uncertainty, trusting that the void you face is not emptiness, but a womb for your rebirth. It's the ultimate surrender and the ultimate power combined. It requires courage few dare to summon. Remember, the world may call you selfish or unstable for walking away. But Jung reminds us that the greatest gift you can give to the world is your authentic self, whole, unshackled, and fiercely alive. When you claim that power, you change not just your life, but ripple out to change collective consciousness. So if you find yourself hesitating, know this: walking away is never a loss. It is a transformation. It is the energetic alchemy that turns endings into beginnings. And in that power lies your freedom, your healing, and your true destiny. The question isn't if you can walk away. The question is, are you ready to step into the power waiting on the other side? When you walk away, you don't just leave a situation. You change the energy around you permanently. Carl Jung saw this as a seismic shift in your inner landscape. The moment you say no more, the universe shifts its alignment with you. This is why walking away feels so intense. It's a breaking point that creates new space for growth. But that space can feel like a void, and many fear it. They rush to fill it with distractions, new relationships, or false hopes. Jung warned against this impulse. True healing demands patience. It asks you to sit with discomfort until your soul begins to speak in a clearer, purer voice. In that silence, you learn to trust yourself, not the ego that clings to control, but the deeper self that knows your purpose. This is where walking away becomes an act of spiritual awakening. It's not just about rejecting what no longer serves, but about listening to what calls you forward. Jung's band interview revealed that the energetic power of walking away is the power to rewrite your story. It's the first act of becoming the author of your own life, rather than a character in someone else's script. But this new story requires new ways of thinking, feeling, and being. It calls for boundaries that protect your energy, rituals that nurture your spirit, and a community that supports your growth. The energetic power of walking away is the beginning of an alchemical process. It dissolves the old and ignites the new. It awakens the dormant parts of your soul and sets you on a path of profound transformation. So as you stand on the edge, ready to walk away or having already taken that step, remember this: you are not alone. The journey is hard, but it is holy, and the power you reclaim is beyond measure. Walking away is often seen as an ending, but Jung showed us it's really a beginning. It's the birth of a new energetic identity. When you step into this new energy, you're no longer defined by what you left behind. Instead, you're defined by what you're willing to create. This shift challenges everything you thought you knew about yourself. It asks you to release old narratives, stories of victimhood, limitation, and scarcity. Jung believed that these stories are prisons built by the ego to keep you small, but the energetic power of walking away cracks those walls. It invites you to rebuild from a place of sovereignty and wholeness. This rebuilding isn't about perfection. It's about authenticity. It's about aligning your inner world with your outer reality. And this alignment is magnetic. It draws to you what you need, not just material success, but deep, soulful connection and purpose. Jung saw this process as individuation, the sacred unfolding of your true self. However, this journey requires ongoing courage. There will be moments when the old world calls you back with promises of comfort and familiarity. You will be tested, tempted to return to what's easy, but no longer nourishing. Jung's banned interview reminds us that walking away is a continual practice, a daily reclaiming of your energy and your truth. Each time you choose yourself, you deepen your power. So embrace the energetic power of walking away. It's your gateway to freedom, healing, and transformation. And through it, you become the force of nature you were always meant to be.